Right here tonight at 6 o'clock, it's going to be his third time facing a jury. It will be his second time facing a federal jury. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt. The former Metro Police Detective Brett Hankison charged with violating the civil rights of Breonna Taylor the night she was killed. With jury selection underway, we're asking federal trial veterans tonight how likely it is that a jury could convict this time around. Isaiah Kim Martinez and our senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton are going to be covering the lengthy trial. And Isaiah, you once again saw Hankison face to face this morning as he was walking inside. Anything different that you noticed?
So far, Doug, he has not said a word to reporters or any of our cameras right in front of the courthouse. I do want to mention, I talked with well-respected attorneys today on what you just mentioned, the likelihood that this case ends up the same way we've seen past trials with Brett Hankison. Ultimately, we're told it's going to be a tall task for prosecutors to prove to jurors that essentially they wouldn't do the exact same thing that Brett Hankison did in the situation he was in. Back in federal court, where in his past trials, Brett Hankison's lawyer said he was returning fire to protect other officers during the Breonna Taylor raid. Mr. Hankison, do you expect to testify again? Protecting your fellow officers, is that going to be your primary case? Hankison walking ahead of his 3 attorneys entering for a second day of jury selection.
It's going to be a really uphill climb for them to get 12 people to find him guilty.
Louisville attorney and former federal prosecutor Brian Butler is not involved in the Hankison case, but does represent former LMPD Sgt. Kyle Meany, who's also federally charged.
They did what they thought they could to win, and they didn't win. So now they already know what the defense is going to do. They know what the defense has done both times. I think it's going to be very difficult to get a different outcome for them.
The outcome so far, an acquittal in his wanton endangerment trial in 2022 after Hankison took the stand himself.
Why did you do what you did?
To protect myself, and more importantly was to protect the fellow detectives that were stuck in that breezeway.
And then last November, a hung jury leading to a mistrial. Is this the DOJ's last try against Hankison? Do you get a sense that this would probably be it?
I would assume any rational prosecutor, if they tried something 3 times and were unsuccessful 3 times, would say, hey, we tried our best and it just didn't work out.
Thomas Clay, who represents former LMPD detective Joshua Janes, the man accused of falsifying the warrant that led to that raid on Taylor's apartment, explaining to me why Hankison's case matters so much.
I don't know what's going to happen if he's acquitted, if Mr. Hankison's acquitted. I don't know if the Department of Justice will continue the prosecution of Sergeant Meany and Joshua Janes, or whether they will say, look, we've had enough of this and we're not going to pursue any further prosecutions. I just don't know the answer to that question.
So Isaiah, as always in these cases, a lot's going on behind the scenes we don't know about before this trial starts. Last week, that judge decided to block evidence and testimony about how Hankison acted as a cop before the Breonna Taylor raid. But she did leave the door open, so we're close to the trial. Where does that stand tonight?
Doug, you're exactly right. I'm actually being told that there is a last-ditch effort from the prosecution to include some of that evidence, specifically incidents in Brett Hankison's past within LMPD, incidents he's actually been disciplined for in the past. This was many years before 2020. The judge, again, initially denied that request, but I'm being told there could be a hearing this week in which they're going to again make their case. This is all as the jury is still being selected. So, Doug, there is a lot happening this week. And again, opening statements will be right around the corner as soon as a judge or a jury, is seated. Doug.
Okay, Isaiah, thank you. And again, all of this started just yesterday, so we're getting close to the end of the week. Thank you very much.